Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we break down the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Blinking Berta 37. Thanks for the suggestion, Berta. You asked, why do we use green for go and red for stop? We see these colors every single day, on traffic lights, stop signs, even in video games. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? Why isn't it, say, purple for go and orange for stop? Or, I don't know, plaid for yield? Well, strap in because we're diving into the surprisingly colorful history of red, green, and how they came to rule the roads. Right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with a little eye science. Red and green weren't just randomly pulled out of a magician's hat. They actually work well because of how our eyes perceive colors. Red is one of the most noticeable colors to the human eye. It has a long wavelength, meaning it can be seen from farther away. This is why warning signs, fire trucks, and your aunt's questionable lipstick are often red. It demands attention. Green, on the other hand, is easy on the eyes. Literally. Our eyes are most sensitive to green light, which makes it a great choice for something we need to see clearly, like a go signal. So, even before cars were zooming around, nature had already decided that red screams, "Look at me," while green is a chill, non-threatening color. But how did we go from understanding colors to assigning them to traffic? Before traffic lights, we had trains. And if you think traffic is bad now, imagine thousands of tons of metal barreling down tracks without a proper signal system. In the early days of railroads, red meant stop, because again, it's impossible to ignore. White meant go, which in hindsight was a terrible idea. Green meant caution. Now you might be wondering, why not just keep using white for go? Well, because one day a red lens fell off a signal light, leaving just a white light. A train conductor mistook it for a go signal. And, well, let's just say, trains don't stop on a dime. After that, green replaced white for go. So now we had red for stop, green for go, and yellow, which was later introduced, for brace yourself. When cars started appearing on the roads, people basically looked at what the railroads were doing and said, yeah, that works. Let's use that. Before modern traffic lights, we had policemen standing in the middle of intersections, waving their arms like they were trying to land a plane. This was not a sustainable solution. Enter the first traffic light, 1868, London. And, spoiler alert, it did not go well. It was gas-powered. It had only red for stop and green for go. It exploded after a month, injuring the poor police officer operating it. Despite the literal fiery start, the concept stuck. By the 1910s, American cities started experimenting with electric traffic signals, and in 1920, Detroit and Cleveland introduced three-color traffic lights: red, green, and yellow. Fun fact, early traffic lights didn't change automatically. They needed a human operator who had to manually switch the colors, which sounds like the most stressful job ever. Could we have picked different colors? Sure, but it turns out red, yellow, and green work ridiculously well together. Blue, it's calming and doesn't really scream urgency. Imagine a stop sign in baby blue. It feels more like an invitation to a spa. Purple, looks cool, but imagine explaining that to millions of people. Purple means stop unless it's lavender, in which case yield. But if it's neon purple, definitely go. Chaos. Pink. Fantastic for a birthday party. Less fantastic for life or death road decisions. You might be thinking, okay, but why do stop signs only use red? Well, back in the early 1900s, stop signs were yellow because red paint faded too quickly. But by the 1950s, scientists figured out how to make durable red paint. And since red already meant stop in traffic lights, it made sense to use it for stop signs too. Ever wondered why stop signs are octagons? That's so, even if it's covered in snow or turned around, you still recognize it by shape alone. Pretty smart, right? Believe it or not every country sticks to the same red-green system. Japan technically uses blue for go because their language historically didn't differentiate between blue and green. Some European countries have extra signals, like a flashing green, before it turns yellow. In parts of China, they experimented with using pictures of walking people instead of colors, which, to be fair, might actually reduce confusion. But overall, red and green have stuck because they're universally understood, even if you don't speak the language. With self-driving cars and AI taking over, will red and green still be necessary in the future? Maybe not. Cars might communicate directly with each other, meaning we wouldn't even need traffic lights. But until that day comes, red will keep yelling stop, green will keep saying go, and yellow will keep making us question every decision we've ever made. So next time you're stuck at a red light, just remember, you're part of a system that started with trains, explosions, and some very bad early color choices. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new about why we use red and green, hit like and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.